Hello, phnxj back, y'all, and it is Fragrance Friday. I am so excited to see y'all again. And y'all, this one right here, I told y'all, I promised y'all a series. The series is here. It's time. phnxj Fragrance School is in session, and we are about to talk about layering, y'all. I've been getting so many questions about layering. I've seen so many conversations about layering versus combos. Or, what notes last longer? What type of should I be getting a parfum or a perfume? What's the difference? What's a cologne? What's going on? And I'm here to answer so many of those questions. So I'm so excited to get into this one, y'all. Buckle in, get your snacks, get your drinks, get yourself ready. I got my little bitty glass of wine here, just a little taste. A little taste of the little strawberry wine. Just a little strawberry wine. Hop in the comments if you know who that's by. Let me know if y'all know about that thing. Shout out to my sister, because that's why I know that one. But we're gonna get into this one. Now listen, I can be a little bit like Motormouth Maple. I can go and I can go. So I'm gonna try and keep it succinct and easy to absorb. So follow me, follow me. We're gonna call this layering and longevity, level one, because there are levels to this thing, okay? And with this one, we're gonna be talking about notes, we're gonna talk about concentrations and strengths. And we're going to start by talking about the difference between fragrance combos and fragrance layering. They are two different things. And I want to break that down so that this whole navigating fragrance journey can be easier for all of us. So, first, there's fragrance combos and there's fragrance layering. Two completely different things. And it's important to know the difference so that you know what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve. Now, fragrance combos are super easy to understand, and we have all done these before without even realizing it. An example of this is when you wear two fragrances at least at the same time on the same body, but not necessarily on the same body. Like, it could be that one's on clothing and the other's on the body. It could be something's in the hair that's different from what's on the body. It could be something's on the skin, moisturizer with strong fragrance, and you've got something else that's on, again, on the clothing or on the hair. So fragrance combos are essentially wearing multiple fragrances at the same time, but not layered. Layering fragrances, on the other hand, is the idea of building a unique fragrance experience, one fragrance at a time on top of each other. That can look so many different ways. And again, there's levels to this. So we're not going to get into all the ways that that looks right now. But we're going to start with the simplest form. That's, knowing that you're going to wear, let's say, Burberry Goddess, a fragrance known for its vanilla note, and putting a layer of vanilla oil, something like Madagascar vanilla from Nest, New York. This is a great example of a really easy signature fragrance. Now, don't go out there and let that be your signature fragrance. I'm gonna tell y'all why. Then put a lot of people onto that combo. And I've seen a lot of people put onto that combo. It's a very easy combo, but that's a great place to start so that you understand the fundamentals of layering fragrance. But that is what a layer looks like. A combo, on the other hand, might be wearing commodity milk on the skin, but extra whip from Sniff on the clothing and in the hair. Two similar fragrances, but different and not layered on each other because I didn't put the mist on top of the perfume. Perfume is the only thing on the skin. And the mist is on the hair and the clothing. So that would be combos, and that would be a combo of like a milky combo. Now, I'm gonna show y'all what I do. What I do is I do combos and layering. So I might have the extra whip in my hair and I might have commodity on my skin, but I'm going to put extra whip on top of the commodity. I'm just going to do that. It's also probably going to be on my clothing. And I might have a little mist of the commodity on the clothing as well because the sillage is crazy. The projection is wild. Those are next episodes. So if you wonder what projection and sillage are, we're going to talk about them more as we talk about how to wear some of your fragrances in the next episode. But that is the difference between a fragrance combo and a fragrance layer. And those are two examples. Really easy. So next we're going to talk about notes. And to talk about notes, I'm going to use a new fragrance drop. It came out this year. So I'm going to use it as my example for notes. So we've got from Selena Gomez's brand Rare Eau de Parfum. This is a great fragrance. It's great. It's simple. It's easy. Um, for my vanilla caramel kind of lovers, this is a good one. It for me. There are a couple things about the fragrance I love. The bottle is one. Um, this is a very intentionally designed bottle because this is one of the most accessible bottles I've ever seen. It's easy to, you can lock it and you hear the click when you do lock it and unlock it. It clicks on both sides. And this is great for any people who have a difficult time with regular spray bottles, whether that is living with a disability, whether that's a motor issue, whatever. This is an easier fragrance for people to apply without having to require a lot of dexterity and motor skill. So it's a little bit on the easier end. So we just gave that a miss. Mm, mm. So as we talk about the notes, I'm going to go ahead and get in here on this first smell. And the top notes on this fragrance are caramel, pistachio, and we've got some pink pepper. So let's talk about fragrance notes. Um, Different notes have different chemical kind of characteristics. They just react differently, they act differently, and certain things have to happen for them to shine. And when you understand the chemical makeup of a fragrance note, you'll understand what to expect when it comes to longevity, especially if they're fragrances you're wearing and you're wondering why the note that you love the most is not lasting the longest. It's probably a top note. Let's talk about what that means. Top notes are small, light, highly volatile molecules. Examples being like limonene. I think citral is also one. They're great examples of fragrance and you can see these when you look at your fragrance boxes and bottles. You will see some of these compounds on there as examples or as ingredients. So those are your fragrance notes. They're just written in chemical compound form in that scientific language. Let's see. So yes, we've got citral in this one as well as limonene. Both are in here. And those are fragrance compounds highly associated with, again, top notes, but some of our citrus family as well. And it's great to pull out the fact that there is pink pepper here because pink pepper has a citrusy kind of sparkle about it. And that's what you get from your top notes. You get the sparkle of the fragrance. These are those notes that come in quickly and last about 15 to 30 minutes. They're here for a good time, not a long time. They come in and they go pretty quickly. Uh, Examples would be like citrus, the majority of your citrus, your lime, your bergamot, your grapefruit, um, even like your pear. You might find pear here. Sometimes you'll find peach here, depending on how they're using the peach. You'll see a lot of your citrus here. You're also going to see like a lot of your green notes. So like your light herbs, mint, basil, thyme, you're going to see them here. Your green leaves, violet leaf, fig leaf, coconut leaf. Whenever you see a leaf, it's usually going to be on the top because it's going to come in with that green zing at the top, that freshness, that crisp, that sparkle. That's what we get from our top notes. So with our top notes here, yeah, you're definitely getting a little bit of that pistachio. It's not like a heavy pistachio note, and it's not really a heavy caramel note. This fragrance, I'm getting the pink pepper, and it's beginning to develop into its heart pretty quickly. They're great notes. It makes for a beautiful fragrance, but it is developing into the mid note pretty quickly because I'm already getting the ginger, which is on the mid note. So let's go ahead and move on to the mid note, like the fragrance is. Let's just go ahead and get there. Our mid notes are a little bit larger in size. So these are medium weight molecules. Examples being like your esters. Again, these are things you can see on your boxes of perfume. Your esters, some of your alcohols, your lactones, they're going to be here. And with our mid notes, these are going to emerge as soon as our top notes evaporate. So when your top notes are gone, you start getting some of that. And that's when I'm already picking up the ginger here. And the vanilla's coming in. The vanilla's on the mid here. We've got ginger, vanilla, cocoa beans. Yeah, it's already gone like in a sweet direction. It went pretty sweet pretty quickly. Like you did get this fresh burst, this sparkle that instantly went into something sweet, giving very gourmand. Um, with your mid notes, you're typically gonna find like your fruits here. So you're going to see a lot of fruit notes: fig, peach, lychee, strawberry, watermelon. You're also going to find your spices, another family of notes that I love. have a lot of fragrances with spice. Cinnamon in particular is one of my favorite notes in fragrance. But one of my top spice notes, period, in fragrance is saffron. You're gonna find those here. Also like nutmeg, black pepper, um, Sichuan pepper, you'll find them here. So the different peppers outside of pink pepper, which is more citrusy and bright, your full-bodied spices you'll typically find here. That's why we're getting ginger. Ginger's here. Yeah. Cocoa. Cocoa is a spice. Cocoa's here. Vanilla is a spice as well, and it's here. Vanilla is a unique one because you can get different types of vanilla on different levels. And essentially what that looks like, without overcomplicating it, what that looks like is if you see like a whipped vanilla cream, that might be on the top. You might see a vanilla milk in the heart, and you might see straight vanilla or vanilla bean on the base. So vanilla is a little bit different because it's one of those things that can be used differently, as many food things can be. You can have a strawberry versus strawberry candy. You get what I'm saying? So like know that that's also a thing. If you start like, I thought roses were only in heart notes. This one has white rose as the top note. Yeah, that's because that is not your typical rose that you're going to have in perfume. White rose would be a much more subtle, light note. So if you're going to smell it, it's going to be at the beginning of the fragrance. It's a top note. It's going to evaporate quickly compared to a full-bodied Turkish rose or Bulgarian rose. Um, Hopefully that answers some questions and helps navigate those because you will see those. That's not even a I wonder if you're going to run into one. You're going to run into those pretty quickly. Um, but your mid notes are what give you your character. This is what people usually remember the most about a fragrance. I'm pretty sure with Chanel number 5 in the mid, we've got some aldehydes or something that is giving us our powdery finish as well as our rose. These are going to last anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. So these are giving you, again, the really big push of the fragrance that even when you put it on and it's been a little bit, you've been 3 hours in and you're still pulling that caramel and that ginger. That's why they're meant to last longer than that 15 to 30 minutes of top note. Then we move into the base because I had to remember where I sprayed it, y'all. I was like, hang on, that's not it. Yeah, we haven't gotten any of our base notes yet, and we probably won't get them on video. But we haven't gotten any of our base notes. Our base notes are skin musks, tonka bean, and sandalwood. And typically on base notes, these are much larger, heavier, slow moving, less volatile molecules. Think your long chain hydrocarbons, your resinoids, and your fixatives. And so these are going to evaporate a lot slower, some lasting over 24 hours. So there is no after that, 4 hour range, your base notes come in and they last until the party is over. They're there when the last person leaves. They are the last person, as a matter of fact. That's them. You'll typically find you can see vanilla here a lot. Vanilla as a spice, as a base, is a really great finish, and you might see it as coumarin. You might see it with the tonka bean. Tonka beans typically down here. You're gonna get a lot of your woods, sandalwood, cedarwood. They usually ride on the bottom note. A lot of your woods, a lot of your really smoky notes. You're also gonna get your resins here. Myrrh, frankincense, helichrysum if it's in the fragrance, benzoin, it's going to be here, patchouli, amber, those are notes that we'll find here. Balsams, those will be here as well. So yeah, this is where your longevity comes from. This is where the warmth of the fragrance comes from. When we talk about that, the skin finish, the dry down, that's what we're talking about, are those base notes. What do those base notes give in that fragrance? Your base notes are giving you the body. They are giving you the warmth. They are giving you the skin finish that is coming from your base notes. So now that we've gone through notes, take a deep breath, get you a little sip of drink. I know that was a lot of information. This is a longer form platform here. And of course, on TikTok, it'll be snippets and whatever. But this is a longer form video. So, brace yourself because this ain't a long video. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about the strengths. When you're buying fragrance, when you're out and about, I know you've seen it. EDT, EDP, parfum, cologne. Where does aftershave fall in this category? Where does body mist fall on this? And what in the world are perfume oils? Why are these roller balls in my gas station? Which y'all, I do buy rollerball gas station perfumes, so don't judge me. I probably bought 5 in the last week or two because one of my favorite gas stations just started carrying roller balls. And when I tell y'all, I even have some of my coworkers addicted. Like the names are ridiculous, ridiculous, but the smells. Oh my goodness, I've gotten some really amazing $3 perfume roller balls lately. So let's get into it. So I want to go through concentration and strength. And, next week we'll talk about projection and sillage, and we'll get into maybe intermediate layering. But I think it's really important to understand strength because for a lot of people, they're buying lower strength fragrances expecting them to last 12 hours. You're not going to get that up a body mist. Axe is probably the exception. I don't know what they put in there. I don't know. We probably shouldn't be breathing when you spray Axe. Um, just saying, because I had some Axe that would last forever. But body mists, hair mists, um, and all these different categories we're about to get into, that helps you determine one, how to layer it, but two, how long it's going to last and what it's going to contribute to your layer or your combination. So let's get into the first category. The very first category, or the very first group of categories, because we're going to group these up. Into little parties of like three, two or three. So the first party, and I've got some fragrances here. So when you see me reaching and turning and looking, yes, I've got my notes and yes, I've got my fragrances because we're going to have fun with this. The first category we're going to get into has our lower strength fragrances. And actually, there's one that I don't have here. I don't have anything in the category anymore. I believe I used to have something a while back, but I don't now. So that is what it is, but you'll know what I mean when I talk about it. So, our first category, let's start with fragrances that are giving 1 to 2% fragrance oil. And those fragrances are referred to as eau fraiche. For those of you who have ever seen this fragrance before, it's part of the name. I don't know if y'all can see that well because of my ring light. Lord, we love a ring light when you're deeply melanated in chocolate, but when you have to show some glass and some metal on the screen, it's not fun. It's not fun getting the right angle so that the kids can see. So yes, Versace Man, Eau Fraiche. But this fragrance here is one of my favorites. I've had this bottle for a minute, but it was the first designer, prestige, luxury fragrance I ever wore. I started wearing this at 15 and I've always had a bottle since. This could be considered one of my signature fragrances because when I wear it, I always get compliments on it. Something about it works really well with my body chemistry. That's also going to be in next week's episode talking about body pH and chemistry and how notes pool. But this fragrance, it does not have crazy longevity. What's wild is I always got compliments on it, but I usually wore it places that I wasn't there for a long time because longevity on an eau fraiche is 2 hours max, 1 to 2 hours. That's what you're gonna get on an eau fraiche. They don't last a long time. They're meant to be light. They're meant to be quick. They're usually clean and fresh. Eau fraiche, usually fresh. So eau fraiche is a great example. I know some other fragrances out there have eau fraiche versions. For those of you who are fans of Killian Paris, Love Don't Be Shy, if I'm not mistaken, comes in an eau fraiche. And I can imagine that being a beautiful fragrance too, because Love Don't Be Shy alone is great. I have a travel size. I love it. It's beautiful marshmallow note in there. I mean, Rihanna wore it, so you know it's good. She was considered the best smelling woman in Hollywood when she was wearing it, so you know it's good. Uh, Next on our list of quickly evaporating fragrances, fragrances that are not going to give you a long time, we have body mist, hair and body mist. I have so many. I mean, I could reach and probably pull anywhere in our reach in this room. I'll probably pull a hair and body mist. This one is one of my favorites, as you can tell. This is from Bath and Body Works. This one is called Musk, and it is a perfume mist. And typically, and let's see, what are our notes in here? Fragrance with notes of sheer orchid and airy musk for a delicate skin-like scent. I love skin scents. They're some of my favorite fragrances of all time are skin scents. I just love a skin scent. Body mist has 1 to 8% oil. So you'll get a little bit more longevity from some of them, but it just depends on how it's formulated. You're not really going to know that until you get it or until you wear it. Musk, on the other hand, is something I will layer with literally any and everything. I'll even just spray. I can put whatever combo I want on, and I'll just spray the whole body in this because I love orchid notes. I love sheer fragrances, and this just warms up the skin. Even with what I've sprayed with the Selena Gomez, I'm going to spray this on top, and it just warms it up and softens it and creates this sheer kind of veil of orchid that's just light and smells so refreshing and clean. But again, I'm not going to get crazy longevity from that. That will probably be gone by the time I go to bed, which might be in the next 2 hours. Uh, Next, we've got two that I don't have. I don't have them to tell you from experience how long they're going to last. I don't use aftershave. Aftershave falls in here at 1 to 3%. So that means you're going to get about an hour or two wear out of it. Um, yeah, it's really meant to help the skin, even though it's high in alcohol. It's meant to help prevent, razor burn, uh, razor bumps. Aftershave falls in the 1 to 3% category, and I don't have an eau de cologne. Eau de cologne is the category where people always refer to men's fragrances as eau de cologne, and no, that is not necessarily true. There are men's fragrances that are eau de colognes. Yeah, there are, but there are women's fragrances that are eau de colognes as well. So that is important to know. An eau de cologne typically has 2 to 5% oil. So keep that in mind. There are some aftershaves that have more oil than an eau de cologne. There are some body mists that have more oil than an eau de cologne. So eau de cologne is a strength, which is why I never refer to men's fragrances as colognes, unless it is a cologne, unless it's an eau de cologne. So that is a much lower strength, similar again to an eau fraiche, where you'll get maybe 3 hours of wear out of it. Again, it just depends on the formulation and what the notes are, but in most cases, it's not going to last very long. Next, we're going to move into our next group, and these are our heavy hitters. These are our bangers. These are the ones that there are three here that we're going to talk about that you're going to see more often than not. Eau de toilette, eau de parfum, parfum. These are the ones you'll see more often than not. Eau de toilette is one of the most popular, if not the most popular category of fragrance. These are fragrances that typically have 5 to 15% fragrance oil. So they're going to last anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours. You might get 5 hours out of them. 3 to 5 is a good, safe bet, but that's what you're going to get from eau de toilette. That's why, if you're only wearing an eau de toilette and EDT to work, that's why you're not smelling it when you get off. 8 hours later is much longer than 5. I'm just saying. For those who didn't know, 8 is greater than 5. Period. Okay, so eau de toilette again, 5 to 15%, 3 to 4 hours. The eau de toilette that I have with me that I'm going to share is another one of my go-tos. This is Versace. As y'all can see, I love me some Versace. This is Versace Pour Homme. Uh, Really aquatic and clean. Fresh, bright. It's got some great citrus notes in it. I do find when I was wearing this every day, this is a newer bottle. When I was wearing this every day, I would carry it in my work bag to reapply. Max 5 hours wear. I feel like I could get 4 or 5 out of that easily without layering it. Yeah, I could find. I mean, easily. And another thing to know about EDTs, some of the most famous fragrances of all time. Think all time. Some of the most famous fragrances of all time are EDTs. The original Chanel Number 5, the original Dior J'adore, the original Valentino Voce Viva, the original Carolina Herrera Good Girl, the original Dior Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel. These were all originally EDTs. YSL La Home, all of them were originally EDTs. Burberry Her, Burberry Goddess. Okay, Goddess might have been the exception. I could have just lied. My moon is in Gemini, y'all. I could have just lied right then. So yeah, my bad if I lied. Yeah. Okay. So next we've got Eau de Parfum, which is a category I do enjoy in Eau de Parfum. I don't have as many toilettes in my collection. I have more parfums for sure than anything else. This is a category that I think is on the rise because more people are interested in longevity when it comes to fragrance. So Rare by Selena Gomez, the one I sprayed earlier, is an Eau de Parfum. Uh, I believe I have another one right here. Yes, I do. This is one of the newest added additions to my collection. And this is, ooh, y'all definitely can't see that. I have to put my hand right here. Let's see. This is, yes, Chanel Chance. This is O Splendida. This is the newest launch. I don't think a new chance has come out in years. And this one is delicious. I love this one. Of course, it has the signature rose geranium to it. This is just such a lovely fragrance. I think, is it a rhubarb note? Is it rhubarb that's in this? It could be rhubarb. It could be that it has a rhubarb note, but it's not purple rhubarb like Marc Jacobs Perfect Elixir. It is just such a gorgeous fragrance. Eau de Parfum, they'll typically have 15 to 25. So eau de parfums, you're going to get a minimum of 6 hours usually. Sometimes it can be 5.5, 5. 6 hours to 8 hours. This is what you wear to work if you want one fragrance to last all day. You could wear an eau de parfum. It's about getting the right one, but you could wear an eau de parfum technically all day. Um, and with eau de parfums, these are some of the best to layer with, in my opinion, because of their longevity. And then finally, in this category of your heavy hitters, at least you have parfums, and I spoke about Sauvage earlier. This is Dior Sauvage. Ooh, 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 Elixir. So this is the Dior Sauvage Elixir as compared to the original. Yeah, it's a lot more musky, a lot cooler. It's got that cool spice to it. And it's so much bolder. It's so much bolder. Like, I haven't worn this yet, and the smell coming just from the bottle is intense. Like, I love it. Love that one. But that's Sauvage Elixir. So Sauvage Elixir, that one is a parfum. And again, parfum is going to give you 20 to 40% fragrance oil. These are going to last 8 plus. So you're gonna get really from a parfum as compared to another parfum 8 to 10 hours. You'll get a couple more hours out of it, but 8 to 10 hours from a parfum. This is the 20 to 40% because when we get to 40%, it becomes something different. But you might also see parfums referred to as strict just perfume. So 20 to 40% is perfume. From those, you get again 8 plus hours, 8 to 10 hours of wear. Now, finally, the final category are fragrance strengths people don't think about, the beyond, if you will. So our final category is the beyond. Fragrance categories, fragrance strengths people don't really think about. And there are two that sit here that are really important when it comes to layering fragrances. Really important. You have your extrait de parfum or your extrait, and you have perfume oils, roller balls in most cases, but some do come in droppers. So let's talk about extraits. When you think about some of the dupe brands that are out now, the majority of them that I buy are extrait brands. They only make fragrances at 40 plus percentage. And they're usually 40% on the dot, but anything over 40% when it comes to fragrance oil and alcohol is considered an extrait. So Dua, Okja, um, maybe Dossier, maybe Alt. Those are all extrait de parfum brands. Every single fragrance is made of 40% fragrance oil. This one is one of my favorites. I talked about this one before. White Milk 2.0 from the Dua brand fragrance. Love it. It's a great one, and I really get crazy wear out of it. I feel like I get 8 to 10 hours easily. I layer it anyway, and it's usually my base layer, and it wears all day. It wears all day, especially if I put any on clothing. It will wear for days, not just all day, but for days. And I love that. I love when it does that. So that's what you get from Nick Straight. And then finally, you've got perfume oils. Um, these typically average about 15% fragrance oil. But what's interesting is because there's no alcohol, they don't evaporate. So they last a lot longer while nourishing the skin because, as I've said before, if your skin is dry, your fragrance is not going to last that long. But the more nourished your skin is, the longer your fragrance is going to last. And if I've nourished the palette and I put something nourishing with the fragrance in it on this nourished palette, amplified fragrance lasting much longer. So perfume oils are one of my favorite categories. So I'm going to give you an example of just a simple, quick way that I layer. How do I layer based on strength? What is it that helps me figure out how I'm going to layer? Typically, when I'm layering, the first thing I do when it comes just strictly to the fragrances is I put down my base layer fragrance. I usually don't go above 3 when it comes to actual layers. On my skin, I usually don't go above 3, but most time it's 2. I don't usually don't go above 3, and I usually start with a perfume oil or an extrait de parfum. Moisturized skin, perfume oil, or extrait de parfum. And then on top of this, I will go in with usually, if I did a perfume oil, it might be an extrait de parfum then, or it might be 2 extraits. And then I might go into an EDP, an eau de parfum. Not specifically this one with that combo, but I'll put an EDP on top of an extrait or on top of a perfume oil. And then on top of that, I will either do an eau de toilette or a fragrance mist. There are a couple exceptions, the exceptions being skin scents. If I'm wearing a skin scent, I will put the skin scent down first and let it dry. So I might put it on 20 minutes before my other fragrances, maybe 30. My top notes of a skin scent will have evaporated by the time I put another fragrance on top because I'm not wearing it for the top notes. I'm wearing it for the base. Skin scents tend to last a lot longer because of their composition, heavy on base notes. So usually the more base notes, perfect example being Glossier U, made entirely of base notes. The original U is made entirely of base notes. If I'm doing a skin scent, I'll put the skin scent down first. Then I'll go with whatever the complementary scent. Perfect example being like if I wore Me from Sniff, I put my Taskine Peach fragrance. Oh, I think that's from Aroma Concepts. I put that on top. That's a wonderful one. And then I'll top it with the Rare Beauty Body Mist. I think it's the Awakened Confidence, whichever one has the peach notes. But each fragrance, as you see, had a peach note. Peach skin, peach in the heart, then peach note in the body mist. So again, when it comes to navigating fragrances, starting with strength is one of the best places to start because it lets you know where that fragrance needs to sit. So you're asking, well, okay, I've got eau de parfums and I've got eau de toilettes and I've got body mists. What is the cheat code to layering? The heavier the fragrance, the sooner it goes on. So for your heavier fragrances, put them down first and layer from the bottom up. That is the easiest way to do it. If you're doing combos and you're just going to do 2 on the skin and maybe 2 on the body and hair, again, heaviest fragrance first, lightest fragrance on top, hit the body, hit the hair, and you now have a unique fragrance experience. Final question. People ask me why layer? You create a one of a kind fragrance experience that is just for you. You might be sharing it with the world. You might not, but that's your business. That's why you fragrance layer, is to build and create a unique experience tailored just for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the phnxj channel. I love you guys. It's been a blast. We're getting into some of my favorites next week. Thank you so much for your time, and I will smell you later. phnxj out.